Hey, Shalom Israel, the Israelite School, University of Practical Knowledge, out of 1 West 125th Street, New York. Wait, clap it up. Clap it up. Talk about was stuck in space, was like. But yeah, so of course these classes run every day, rain, sleet, snow, sunny. You know what I'm saying? You got any questions about the Bible? Text them in the chat. We'll have somebody look at the chat. If not, come to class in person, you'll get all your questions answered. So today we're going to talk about when and why did the kingdom split under Solomon. First off, we're going to get any ideas about why we think the kingdom split. So, Wadia, why do you think the kingdom split under Solomon? What happened to make the Lord angry enough to tear Israel from Judah, to tear the children of Israel apart into two kingdoms?
Sin.
That's a good answer. That's a good answer. Sin is absolutely the right answer. Can you go any further than that? What did Solomon do? Give me some attributes of Solomon.
He started marrying all the heathen women.
He did. He did. What do we know that as today? Marrying heathen women. What do you call it today? You got a Israelite brother, heathen woman. Israelite sister, heathen brother, heathen man. What you call it today?
Lawful.
We call it unlawful, but in the world we call it interracial marriage.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Today, what we know is interracial marriage, which is so normal, you know what I'm saying, was once something that the Lord split the kingdom over. You know what I mean? So the children of Solomon were unclean. You know what I'm saying? Because it was unlawful. So let's get Deuteronomy 23:8. Let's start there. It's gonna be a lot of history, a lot of reading today. You can read it when you got it, so
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 23, verse 8. The children that are begotten of them shall enter into the congregation of the Lord in their third generation.
Now, the children that were begotten of Solomon were the children that came into, were the children that were here during that time, right? So we know that reincarnation is real, right? So his children were the children that were living in the time when things got real bad. And once Israel split, you notice they don't really say nothing about Asher, Gad, Naphtali, any of them northern kingdoms in the New Testament. They there, but they just not as prevalent. Where did they go? What happened to them?
They went into captivity.
And then what?
In Syria.
Yeah. And go baby. Yeah.
They were scattered.
Yeah, so in the Apocrypha it says that during that time, after the Assyrian captivity, they came up out of Assyrian captivity and they got on a boat and they left. And they came to a land that took them a year and a half to cross the river. They came over here, right? That's when you get the beginning of the Taino, you know what I'm saying? The beginning of the Native Americans and the Seminole Indians and everybody that was here when Christopher Columbus got here, right? All right, so let's start. Let's get 2 Kings 17:1. Let's start there. Hold on, is it 2 Kings or first? Give me 1 second. Okay, yeah, let's read this real quick. 2 Kings 17:1.
This is the book of 2 Kings, chapter 17, verse 1.
All right.
In the 12th year of Ahaz, king of Judah, began Hoshea, the son of Eli, to reign in Samaria over Israel 9 years.
Now, they said Ahaz was the king of Judah, right? And Hosea began to reign over Samaria, over Israel, right? Now, what's the difference?
Ahaz had been the king for 12 years. Hosea had just began his reign.
What was Ahaz the king of?
Judah.
And what was Hosea the king of?
Israel.
Right. What's the difference?
It's two different kings.
Two different kings. You familiar with the term Samaria and what Samaria is, or where Samaria is? Kinda, sorta. We're gonna get into it later, but just for clarity purpose, I'm gonna give it to you. Samaria is the capital of Ephraim, right? Samaria was the capital of the northern kingdom. All right? So the Bible will talk about Israel and Judah. The northern kingdom, they don't really say northern kingdom, they say Israel and Judah. Or they say Samaria and Jerusalem. Jerusalem being Judah, Samaria being northern kingdom. All right? So keep going. So Hosea was the king of Samaria, meaning Hosea was the king of which kingdom?
Northern
The
kingdom.
northern kingdom. Go ahead.
Verse 2. Verse 2. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, but not as the king of Israel, the kings of Israel that were before him.
Go ahead.
Verse 3. Against him came up Shalmaneser, king of Assyria, and Hosea became his servant.
King is what?
Became his servant.
Go ahead.
And gave him presents.
Meaning what?
He gave him gifts.
Or you could also consider that as
Wow.
no. Now Assyria came to their king, right? Hosea, which is the king, became the servant to another king, and he gave him gifts. The bribe is good. The bribe is good. Think like tribute or taxes.
Conspiracy in Hosea. Sent messengers to so brought no present to the king of Assyria,
Right.
as he had done year by year. Therefore the king of Assyria shut him up and bound him in prison.
Go ahead.
Verse 5. Then the king of Assyria came up throughout all the land and went up to Samaria and besieged it 3 years.
Go ahead.
Verse 6. In the 9th year of Hoshea, the king of Assyria took Samaria.
Took what?
Took Samaria.
Go ahead.
And carried Israel away into Assyria and placed them in Halah and in Habor by the river of Gozan.
All right. Drop down to verse 18.
This is the book of 2 Kings, chapter 17, verse 18. Therefore the Lord was very angry with Israel and removed them out of his sight.
He did what?
And removed them out of his sight.
Now, the Lord was angry with Israel, the northern kingdom, and removed them out of his sight. Go ahead.
There was none left but the tribe of Judah only.
Go ahead.
Verse 19. Also Judah kept not the commandments of the Lord their God, but walked in the statutes of Israel which they made.
So give me the spirit of what's going on right now. What's the spirit of what we're reading right now?
And eat.
Just give me a synopsis of what we're reading.
Oh my gosh, sadness.
Basically, the issue.
I know you like reading the history because I know you in Isaiah a lot. Most of your questions is in the Old Testament, normally in the book of the prophets or the history. So I know you know what's going on.
So,
Isaiah was of the northern kingdom as well. Isaiah was around about this time.
as
I need the dog.
I guess because of their wickedness, Israel, when they took captivity, because they was like worshiping false gods, and so the southern kingdom took on the same.
Same spirit. All right, keep going.
Verse 20. And the Lord rejected all the seed of Israel and afflicted them and delivered them into the hand of spoilers until he had cast them out of his sight.
So the Lord delivered them into the hands of spoilers. What does spoilers mean?
Robbers.
Yeah. Yeah. So think spoil like taking everything that makes you great or good. The hands of people that took everything good from us, right? Go ahead.
Verse 21. For he rent Israel from the house of David.
So he rent Israel from the house of David. The house of David meaning Judah, right? Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. That was the house of David. Israel was the other tribes that Joab brought into. So he had David's tribes, and then you familiar with that story when not Joab, Abner. You familiar with the story of Abner? Joab was the captain of David's army.
Oh, you talking about when he slept with his wife?
No. So, okay, are you familiar with how Israel became one nation?
David,
How?
They went to war with each other.
Yes. Give me more.
But under David's reign, like he united the kingdom.
How?
He married, right?
Let's start there. 1 second.
No more like no, not killing the like a dragon, eat this one. The dog is, my dog is like, eat the stress. The dog is stress you.
1 second.
I see the knees corner like you. You can turn it that way.
All right. Give me
Give me one. I make
2 Samuel. Chapter 3.
I can make it. And you can make it push right here.
This is the book of 2 Samuel, chapter 3, verse 1.
Daddy, look at me.
This is Israel coming together under David. What?
Now there was a long war between the house of Saul and the house of David.
Mm-hmm.
But David waxed stronger and stronger,
Mm-hmm.
and the house of Saul waxed weaker and weaker.
What?
Verse 2, and unto David were sons born in Hebron,
Mm-hmm.
and his firstborn was Amnon
All right, let's hold on. Go ahead, keep going.
of Ahinoam,
Daddy,
the just relatives.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 3.
Okay, I
And
get
his
it.
second, Chileab of Abigail, the wife of Nabal.
Drop down to Absalom is one of his sons too. I know y'all probably heard that name. Drop down to verse 6.
Verse 6. And it came to pass, while there was war between the house of Saul and the house of David, that Abner made himself strong for the house of Saul.
My brother would have
Verse
put
7.
a giant.
And Saul had a concubine whose name was Rizpah,
Mm-hmm.
the daughter of Aiah,
Mm-hmm.
and I.S.U.P.K
Mm-hmm.
said to Abner, Wherefore hast thou gone in unto my father's concubine?
Right.
Then was Abner very wroth for the words of I.S.U.P.K
Mm-hmm.
and said,
Now Abner was the captain in Saul's army. Right.
Am I a dog's head,
Mm-hmm.
which against Judah do shew kindness this day
Mm-hmm.
unto the house of Saul thy father, to his brethren and to his friends, and have not delivered thee into the hand of David?
So are you following what's going on right now?
Yeah.
Is everybody following along what's going on right now? What's on Christ? Go ahead.
That thou chargest me today with a fault concerning this woman.
Go to verse 10.
Daddy.
Verse 10, translate the kingdom from the house of Saul, and to set up the throne of David over Israel,
The throne of David over Israel. Go ahead.
Judah,
And over Judah.
from Dan to Beersheba.
Mm-hmm. Go to verse 12.
Verse 12, and Abner sent messengers to David on his behalf. Whose is this land?
Mm-hmm.
So make thy
League with me. Go ahead.
and behold, my hand be with thee,
So now he's trying to join the house of Saul and the house of David together. Go ahead.
to bring about all Israel.
About what?
To bring about all Israel
Mm-hmm.
unto thee.
To David. Go ahead.
Verse 13, and he said, Well, I will make a league with thee,
Mm-hmm.
but one thing I require thee, that is, thou shalt not see my face, except thou first bring Michal, Saul's daughter.
But that became David's wife, right? So David wanted her to wife. That's the one that saw him dancing, right? So I'm gonna drop that. So Abner and Joab had beef, right? So Abner came into the city, and Joab was like, "Damn, like what kind of business did you have with Abner? Why didn't you tell me you had something to do with Abner?" Right? So Joab wound up. I should read the story. We might have to do a part 2 next week. Go down to verse 20.
Verse 20, so Abner came to David to Hebron, and 20 men with him. And David made Abner and the men that were with him a feast.
So now the reason that Joab and Abner had beef is because they both had squads, right? And Abner and Joab squads fought each other, and Abner's people won. Ephraim. So as they had the conflict, Abner was walking away, and Joab's brother went to go fight Abner. Matter of fact, let's just get that. Give me 1 Samuel 2 and 17. I'm gonna leave that for now.
Is it big tree?
Hold on.
Yes, sir.
So once again, in verse 8, it says Abner was the captain of Saul's army, made him king. verse 10, it said, he reigned over Israel. At the time, David was king in Hebron over the house of Judah, which is in verse 11. Start at verse 13.
This is the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 2, verse 13. And the priest's custom with the people was that when any man offered sacrifice,
Second Samuel 2 and 13.
I can make it before.
this is the book of 2 Samuel, chapter 2, verse 13. And Joab, the son of Zeruiah, and the servants of David went out and met together by the pool of Gibeon, and they sat down, the one on the one side of the pool, and the other on the other side of the pool. Verse 14, and Abner said to Joab, let the young men now arise and play before us.
So they said, let the young men arise, let them box it out, let them slap box, or let them fight each other, right? Let them go to war real quick. It's a controlled war, all right? Let the young men do it. Go ahead.
And Joab said, let them arise.
Go ahead. So now they had a deal. Abner said it. Joab said, all right, bet. Go ahead.
Verse 15, then they arose and went over by number 12 of Benjamin.
By number 12 of Benjamin. Go ahead.
Which pertained to I.S.U.P.K, the son of Saul, and 12 of the servants of David.
So it's 24 minutes, 12 on 12. Go ahead.
And they caught every one of his fellow by the head and thrust his sword in his fellow's side.
Go ahead.
So they fell down together. Wherefore that place was called Helkath-Hazurim, which is in Gibeon.
Go ahead.
And there was a very sore battle that day, and Abner was beaten, and the men of Israel before the servants of David.
Go ahead. So the house of Saul was beaten. So Saul was beaten. This is Judah versus Benjamin. So Judah won. Benjamin is Saul. Go ahead.
Verse 18. And there were 3 sons of Zeruiah there, Joab, and Abishai, and Asahel.
So these are 3 brothers. Go ahead.
And Asahel was as light of foot as a wild roe.
Meaning what?
A deer.
He ran like a deer. Go ahead.
And Asahel pursued after Abner, and in going he turned not to the right hand, nor to the left, from following Abner. Verse 20. Then Abner looked behind him and said, art thou Asahel? And he answered, I am.
What?
Verse 21. And Abner said to him, turn thee aside to thy right hand or to thy left, and lay thee hold on one of the young men and take thee his armor. But Asahel would not turn aside from following of him.
Translate that. How would you say that today? Like, ain't you Asahel? Like, yeah. You like, translate that. What does that mean? Turn thee on thy right side or thy left side. What does that mean? Just think like he's telling him chill. Like, play with one of them. Move around, young boy. Play with one of them kids. Don't play with me. All right, go ahead.
Verse 22. And Abner said again to Asahel, turn thee aside from following me. Wherefore should I smite thee to the ground? How then should I hold up my face to Joab thy brother?
So he's saying like, yo, get out my face because I don't want to do this to you. Your brother Joab is my man. How am I going to look at Joab after I do this to you? Go ahead.
Verse 23. Howbeit he refused to turn aside.
No, but Asahel he wasn't trying to hear that. What?
Wherefore Abner with the hinder end of the spear
What's the hinder end of your spear? What's the hind?
The butt
Back.
of it.
Yeah.
the hinder end of the spear smote him under the 5th rib, that the spear came out behind him, and he fell down there and died in the same place. And it came to pass that as many as came to the place where Asahel fell down and died stood still. Verse 24. Joab also and Abishai pursued after Abner, and the sun went down when they would come to the hill of Ammah, that lied before Giah, by the way of the wilderness of Gibeon.
All right, so now you see why Abner and Joab had beef. Abner killed Joab's brother.
Daddy,
All right, so now let's go back down to
I can eat
2 Samuel 3 and 20.
I want to eat some TT.
7 Samuel 3.
2 Samuel 3 and 20. It's the next page. Yeah, go to the next page. 2 Samuel 3 and 20.
Oh, we was in 2. Yeah.
This is the book of 2 Samuel, chapter 3, verse 20. So Abner came to David to Hebron, and 20 men with him.
Now, mind you, Joab is David's captain,
You want some cheese?
but Joab got beef with Abner.
You want some cheese?
So Abner's coming to David, and they having conversation. That's what's going on right now. What?
And David made Abner and the men that were with him a feast.
So David gave Abner a feast. He see Abner, he like, oh, all right, come on. Start cooking everything in the fridge. Like, yo, get the fresh turkey. Or get the fresh beef. You know what I'm saying? He cooked him a feast. What?
Verse 21. And Abner said unto David, I will arise and go, and will gather our Israel unto my lord the king.
So he said, I'm a rise and go. I'm gonna get all the rest of Israel, and I'm gonna deliver them to you. Go ahead.
That they may make a league with thee, and that thou mayest reign
Thou
over,
mayest what?
reign over all.
This is Abner. Abner is the reason that David had all the tribes. Keep going.
That thine heart desire. And David sent Abner away, and he went in peace.
What?
Verse 22, and behold, the servants of David and Joab came from pursuing a troop, and brought in a great spoil with them. But Abner was not with David in Hebron, for he had sent him away, and he was gone in peace. Verse 23, when Joab and all the host that was with him were come, they told Joab, saying, Abner, the son of Ner, came to the king, and he had sent him away, and he is gone in peace.
What?
Verse 24, then Joab came to the king and said, what hast thou done? Behold, Abner came unto thee. Why is it that thou hast sent him away, and he is quite gone? Verse 25, thou knowest Abner the son of Ner, that he came to deceive thee.
So Joab, like, yo, he trying to line you up. Joab thinking that Abner is playing the trick on him. You know what I mean? So Joab is trying to warn David, so to speak. But
And to know thy going out and thy coming in, and to know all that thou doest. Verse 20.
he said all he want to know is what you doing. He want to know where you going out, where you coming in. That's what he doing. But
Verse 26. And when Joab was come out from David, he sent messengers after Abner, which brought him again from the well of Sirah. But David knew it not.
So Abner thinking that Joab is sending the mess. Abner thinking that David is sending the messengers. So Abner is going to come back to where David was, but he didn't know that it was Joab. Go ahead.
Verse 27. And when Abner was returned to Hebron, Joab took him aside in the gate to speak with him quietly,
Joab like, yeah, come on, yeah, I'll let you. Go ahead.
and smote him there under the 5th rib, that he died for the blood of Asahel, his brother.
Go ahead.
Verse 28. And afterward, when David heard it, he said, I and my kingdom are guiltless before the Lord forever for the blood of Abner, the son of Ner.
Go ahead.
I'll choose a drug.
Verse 29. let it rest on the head of Joab and on all his father's house. And let there not fail from the house of Joab one that hath an issue, or that is a leper, or that leaneth on a staff, or that falleth on the sword, or that lacketh bread.
What?
Verse 30. So Joab and Abishai, his brother, slew Abner, because he had slain their brother, Asahel, at Gibeon in the battle.
So David saying, let it rest on Joab, right? But Joab killed Abner because he killed Asahel. So was his brotherhood? Somebody killed your brother, would you kill him? You would, right? It's another instance where you think you're showing brotherhood. We spoke about one last night with Peter. You may think you're showing brotherhood, but it's really a demon talking to you. Because he didn't take the counsel of David. He said, David, why you let him go? And David was like, nah, chill, he doing something for me. And Joab sent the message, bring him back, and he killed him. And now David's like, this ain't got nothing to do with me. Let that evil rest on Joab and his family. His father's house. Go ahead. 2 Samuel chapter 3, verse 31.
Verse 31. And David said to Joab and to all the people that were with him, rend your clothes.
When the Lord created the law, right? He knew that he was creating a trouble people. You know what I'm saying? People that had to work to get right. So when the Lord created the law, he also created atonement. Right?
And wept at the grave of Abner, and all the people wept.
Go to verse 5 and 1. Chapter 5, verse 1.
Stop dropping my thing.
This is the book of 2 Samuel chapter 5, verse 1. Then came all the tribes of Israel to David unto Hebron, and spake, saying, Behold, we are thy bone and thy flesh. Also in time past, when Saul was king over us, thou wast he that led us out and brought us in Israel. And the Lord said to thee, Thou shalt feed my people Israel, and thou shalt be a captain over Israel. Verse 3, so all the elders of Israel came to the king to Hebron, and King David made a league with them in Hebron before the Lord. And they anointed David king over Israel.
All right, so now you see, this is when Israel became one nation. So ever since Joshua had one nation, right? And then once Joshua created Israel, or once Joshua made the land of Israel, it said, then the Philistines came in and they took over. And, you know, the Jebusites came in and they took over. And everybody came in and they took over. And then the children of Israel just spread out. Benjamin had a war. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on. The last judge before this was Samson. Before that, it was just judges or people that were delivering us out of captivity. So many people had their hands in the pot. We was slaves under Moab. We were slaves under the Philistines. We were slaves under Ammon. Everybody. All 12 tribes of Israel in one place. This is called the Kingdom of Israel. David united the kingdom. All right, so you follow me now, right? So now, that's when the kingdom was united, under David. David had a son, Solomon. Solomon was the king of Israel. Now, why did the kingdom split?
I need bread. What story is that? What is that?
Because of Solomon's wickedness and inability to think that his culture was good enough for him and his people.
Wordsworth at his finest. Absolutely. Right. So Solomon was very, very wise. One of the wisest kings. Queen of Sheba was like, oh yeah, I didn't think you were this wise. You know what I'm saying? I heard about it, but I didn't think you was this wise. He wooed everybody that spoke to him. He did trade with all other kings, all other nations. And in doing so, he created relationships with women of those nations or women of those tribes. And when he created those relationships, he had concubines, he had wives, he had so many wives that the children that he had were just, unclean. You know what I mean? So now, let's go to 2 Kings. Where's he at?
Pink.
So we read when the king of when the king of Assyria took the northern kingdom back into captivity, right? So the king, now we're gonna read why it split. That's in 1 Kings. 1 Kings 11. 11 and 14.
I want to tickle you.
This is the book of 1 Kings, chapter 11, verse 14.
What?
And the Lord stirred up an adversary unto Solomon, Hadad the Edomite.
What?
He was of the king's seed in Edom.
Salakia, let's do me a favor, read 11 and 1 real quick. Just because.
The book of 2 Kings, chapter 11, verse 1. But King Solomon loved many strange women,
What?
together with the daughter of Pharaoh,
Mm-hmm.
women of the Moabites,
That's Africans, Chinese, go ahead,
Ammonites,
Japanese,
Edomites,
Caucasian,
Zidonians,
that's Tyrian Zidon is Syrian, go ahead,
and Hittites.
and Africans. He had all women of all different types of people. And Zidon, I think it was like Zidon and Tyre, like New York City. So there's a lot of trade, a lot of different types of people there. All right. Now drop down to verse 3.
Verse 3. And he had 700 wives, princesses, and 300 concubines.
Mm-hmm.
And his wives turned away his heart.
Keep going.
Verse 4. For it came to pass, when Solomon was old, that his wife turned away his heart after other gods.
Go ahead.
And his heart was not perfect with the Lord his God,
Mm-hmm.
as was the heart of David his father.
All right. So now we see the idea of what's going on. So Solomon fulfilled his kingdom, but once he passed his kingdom on, then it split. So go to verse 14.
Verse 14. And the Lord stirred up an adversary unto Solomon, Hadad the Edomite. He was of the king's seed in Edom.
Good.
Verse 15. For it came to pass, when David was in Edom, and Joab was the captain of the host, was going up to bury the slain, after he had smitten every male in Edom.
Good.
Verse 16. For 6 months did Joab remain there with all Israel, until he had cut off every male in Edom.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 17. That Hadad fled, he and certain Edomites of his father's servants with him,
Mm-hmm.
to go into Egypt, Hadad being yet a little child. Verse 18. And they arose out of Midian and came to Paran. And they took men with them out of Paran. And they came to Egypt unto Pharaoh, king of Egypt,
Mm-hmm.
which gave him a house and appointed him victuals. and gave him land.
All right.
Stop
Go ahead.
laughing. Stop
Verse
laughing.
19, and Hadad found great favor in the sight of Pharaoh, so that he gave him to wife the sister of his own wife.
So what happened is Joab was in the city and he was supposed to unalive everybody in the city, but he saved one person, Hadad. Hadad was the one he saved. Hadad left and went to the land of Pharaoh and rose up in Pharaoh's kingdom. Keep going.
He gave him the wife sister of his own wife, the sister of Topanes, the queen.
Daddy,
All right, so you see in 17 it said Hadad fled. I'm saying Joab was supposed to kill everybody, but Hadad fled.
Red and black.
Right? And so drop down to
Okay. That is coming up. I like my hair. Daddy, I
Drop
like her
down
hair.
to
I like his hair though.
25.
Speak up.
Chapter 25.
Verse 25.
This is the book of 1 Kings, chapter 11, verse 25. And he was an adversary to Israel all the days of Solomon.
So the same adversary was the one that Joab let free. Joab was supposed to unalive everybody. He didn't. He let one person go. That person became the the adversary to Solomon. Go ahead.
Beside the mischief that Hadad did, and he abhorred Israel,
He hated Israel. Go ahead.
and he abhorred Israel and reigned over Syria. Verse 26.
Means when he abhorred them, he wanted to do damage. He wanted to do some harm. All right. So the next is keep going.
Verse 26. And Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, and Ephrathite of Zerah, Solomon's servant.
So Jeroboam was an Ephraimite, right? But he was Solomon's servant. Go ahead.
He was an Ephrathite.
Ephraimite. Go ahead.
Solomon's servant, whose mother's name was Zeruiah, a widow woman.
Drop down to 28.
Verse 28. And the man Jeroboam was a mighty man of valor. And Solomon seeing the young man that he was industrious,
Go ahead.
he made him ruler over all the charge of the house of Joseph.
Who's the house of Joseph?
Ephraim.
So he made him ruler or captain over Ephraim, right? So now Solomon remember Solomon is old. He made Jeroboam captain over Ephraim. Go ahead.
Verse 29. And it came to pass at that time when Jeroboam went out of Jerusalem, that the prophet Ahijah, the Shalamite, found him in the way, and he had clad himself with a new garment, and they two were alone in the field.
Go ahead.
Verse 30, and Ahijah caught the new garment that was on him, and rent it in 12 pieces.
He rent it in 12 pieces. Go ahead.
Verse 31, and he said to Jeroboam, take thee 10 pieces.
Take the how many pieces?
10 pieces.
Go ahead. So now, so Jeroboam had a new garment. He ripped his new garment into 12 pieces and told him, take 10 pieces. Go ahead.
For thus said the Lord, the God of Israel, behold, I will rend the kingdom out of the hand of Solomon, and will give 10 tribes to thee.
So this is a prophecy that Jeroboam is going to have 10 of the tribes of Israel, right? And it's also a prophecy that the tribes are going to be split again. Go ahead.
Verse 32, but he shall have one tribe for my servant David's sake, and for Jerusalem's sake, the city which I have chosen out of all the tribes of Israel.
Which is what? Jerusalem. All right, so So now this is the prophecy that Jeroboam is going to be the ruler, right? Give me 12 and 1.
The book of 1 Kings, chapter 12, verse 1. And Rehoboam went to Shechem, for all Israel were come to Shechem to make him king.
So now, first, start. Give me 11 and 41.
This is the book of 1 Kings, chapter 11, verse 41. And the rest of the acts of Solomon, and all that he did, and his wisdom.
Oh, that's not it. That's not it. So when Solomon died, the kingdom, everybody thought that his son was going to get it, right? But remember, there was a prophecy that Jeroboam was going to be king over Israel. So give me a second. Let me make sure I'm in the right place. Well, Rehoboam was.
You in the right spot.
Give me So Rehoboam heard that his father had passed away. Go to verse 8, 12 and 8.
This is the book of 1 Kings, chapter 12, verse 8. For he forsook the counsel of the old, but he forsook the counsel of the old men, which they had given him.
Wait, you're right. You was right. Go to verse 3. It says, go to verse 3.
Verse 3. That they sent and called him, and Jeroboam and all the congregation of Israel came and spake unto Rehoboam, saying, verse 4. Thy father our yoke grievous. Thy father made our yoke grievous.
So Solomon was a tyrant. Go ahead.
Now therefore make thou the grievous service of thy father and his heavy yoke which he put upon us lighter, and we will serve thee.
So they're saying, look, your pop was rough. If you ain't as rough, then we'll serve you. You know what I'm saying? If you taxes or if you make it where though we gotta work hard, whatever they was asking for. You know what I'm saying? If you make our yoke less grievous, then we'll serve you. You're talking to Rehoboam. Go ahead.
Verse 5. And he said unto them, depart yet for 3 days, then come again to me. And the people departed.
He said, give me 3 days to think about it. What?
Verse 6. And King Rehoboam consulted with the old men that stood before Solomon his father while he yet lived.
So King Rehoboam was talking to the old heads in town, right? Or the old heads that was with his father. The wise men or the older men, the elders. Go ahead.
And said, how do ye advise that I may answer this people? And they spake unto him, saying, if thou wilt be a servant unto this people this day, and will serve them.
Now, this is the thing about being a king or a ruler. You are absolutely a servant. Most people think that the more power you have, the less service you have to do. As a king, you should be the most servile. You know what I'm saying? The best general was the best trooper. You know what I'm saying? The best GM was the best employee. You know what I'm saying? Because you made it. The best coach was the best player. You dig what I'm saying? So go ahead.
If thou wilt be a servant unto this people this day, and will serve them and answer them, and speak good words to them, then they will be thy servants forever.
Just treat them good, man. If you treat them good, they're going to treat you good, right?
Verse 8. But he forsook the counsel of the old men.
He forsook that counsel. He ain't paid them no mind, what?
Which they had given him. And consulted with the young men.
With the who?
With the young men.
With the YNs. Go ahead.
That were grown up with him.
That his young boys that grew up with him. His folks, his friends. He listened to them. What?
And which stood before him. Verse 9. And he said unto them, what counsel give ye, that we may answer this people, who have spoken to me, saying, make the yoke which thy father did put upon us lighter.
Go ahead.
Verse 10. And the young men that were grown up with him spake unto him, saying, Thus shalt thou speak unto this people
This is what you should say to them. Go ahead.
that spake unto thee, saying, Thy father made our yoke heavy, but make thou it lighter unto us. Thus shalt thou say unto them,
Go ahead.
My little finger shall be thicker than my father's loins.
What is he saying?
He gonna be worse.
He said, my little finger is gonna be thicker than my father's loins. Meaning, my dad ain't got nothing on me. My little finger is bigger than his rod. You know what I'm saying? So imagine what I'm gonna do if just my little finger is bigger than my father's rod. You thought he was bad? I'm gonna be worse. 10 times worse. This is what Solomon's son is saying. Mind you, Jeroboam was prophesied to be king. Rehoboam is royalty. What you got to?
This is like where, like in Ecclesiastes, like when Solomon was talking about, you know, all his vanity, who knows if you'll be leaving your inheritance over to me. You know what I'm saying? To someone to Compton. Like he thinking he doing this to one of his old man, but not knowing that his old man had this infrastructure there for a reason. And what he's gonna inevitably do, he gonna start a war.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Most wars are fought over taxes.
You said something heavy because the whole time, the book of Ecclesiastes made him right into his son.
Right.
His son grew up to be a knucklehead.
Right.
His son didn't listen to none of his counsel. He obviously want to listen to his young boy or his friends.
Right.
Keep going, Swardo.
Verse 11. And now whereas my father did lade you with a heavy yoke, I will add to your yoke. My father had chastised you with whips, but I will chastise you with scorpions.
Scorpions. My father just beat you back, but I'm gonna put that venom in, that poison in. I'm gonna feel it inside your bones. Drop down. Give me verse 16.
Verse 16. So when all Israel saw that the king hearkened not unto them, the people answered the king, saying, What portion have we in David? Neither have we inheritance in the son of Jesse. To your tents, O Israel. Now see to thine own house, David. So Israel departed unto their tents. Verse 17. But as for the children of Israel, which dwelt in the cities of Judah, Rehoboam reigned over them. Verse 18. Then King Rehoboam sent Adoram, who was over the tribute, and all Israel stoned him with stones, that he died. Therefore, King Rehoboam made speed to get him up to his chariot, to flee to Jerusalem.
So they killed this messenger. All right. So this is when they started to revolt against Rehoboam, and the rest of them went with Jeroboam, but Jeroboam wound up being wicked as hell anyway. Jeroboam wound up being wicked as hell anyway. All right. So
He reminded me of Joffrey Baratheon. You know what I'm saying? From Game of Thrones. You know what I'm
I don't
saying?
know what that is.
Did you watch Game of Thrones? So, yeah, the little white. Look, so Robert Baratheon was the king at the beginning of the Game of Thrones, and he had this son Joffrey, who wasn't really his son, but his wife and his wife's brother, like they got down out of incest, but tried to pass it off as the king's son. But anyway, you know, when you have an incestuous relationship, you know, the child is gonna have some type of mental defect. So he was arrogant, you know what I'm saying? Like he was a monster, you know what I'm saying? He was a monster to his subjects, you know, when his father died, you know, all of that came out. You know what I'm saying? And what ended up happening, the people ended up turning on them and killing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it goes to show, like, if you don't serve the people, you know what I'm saying, the people gonna find a way to serve themselves, and 9 times out of 10, it's gonna get you out of the way. Same thing with the Danes, the Scots, and the British. You know what I'm saying? That's the reason why they fought. You know what I'm saying? Over Wales and all of that. You feel me? Because taxes, you know what I'm saying? And they didn't want to be subject under no overbearing overlord. You know what I'm saying? So like, if you're going to be king, or just better yet, if you're going to be a lord, because as a trooper, you're a lord over the students. As an officer of 50, you have the capacity to be over 50 troopers. You know what I'm saying? 500, so on and so forth. You have to understand is that your job is not to rule 50 people or to rule 500 people, it's to serve them.
Right.
And if you have that in mind, your kingdom or your region will flourish.
Right.
If you don't have that in mind, you know what I'm saying, you just gonna bear bad fruit, and like your zone not gonna grow. And this is a heavy lesson for brothers that aspire to be camp leaders. You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't have that type of mindset to serve the men and the women that the Lord brings up under you, your zone not gonna grow.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like,
Right. Each wild. That was absolutely heavy. Absolutely heavy. So,
This is my grandma, Dad.
so give me 17. Go to
This is my grandma.
give me 1 Kings 14 and 7.
This is the book of 1 Kings, chapter 14, verse 7. Go tell Jeroboam, thus saith the Lord God of Israel, for as much as I exalted thee from among the people, and made thee prince over my people Israel. Verse 8, and rent the kingdom away from the house of David, and gave it thee, and yet thou hast not been as my servant David, who kept my commandments, and who followed me with all his heart.
So, he wound up not doing what he was set to do, not doing what he prophesied to do. He followed his own heart. After this, where is he at? After this, you know who became king of Israel?
Jeroboam.
Jeroboam. You know who became king of Israel? Ahab. After Jeroboam, they put Ahab over top of Israel. And you know who Ahab's wife was, right?
Jezebel.
The heathen. So he followed Jeroboam, and Jeroboam led them to Ahab and Jezebel.
like the coldest thing about what's being said in scripture, like it said that he followed his own heart.
Yep.
You understand? Saul, when he followed his own heart and his own mind, he failed. You know what I'm saying? David, when he followed his own heart and his own mind, he sinned, and the Lord punished him, took his son. You know what I'm saying? And then Solomon, when he followed his own heart, his own mind, it got the nation rendered into two. You know what I'm saying? Torn asunder.
His son and his servant's son.
You feel me? And then now you gonna die, bro.
Yep. Jeroboam led him right to the hands of Ahab.
Right.
He was a wicked king.
You know what I'm saying? And then we got Jezebel on the scene, and you know, she was just manipulating and terrorizing.
Yep.
So, you know, the scripture says, you know, pride coming before destruction. You feel me? So like, you gotta kill your ego daily, bro. You gotta die to self every single day, bro.
And then after this, the northern kingdom proceeds. Hosea became the king. Hosea was famous for my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Under Hosea, the northern tribe went into captivity under the Syrians. Judah was around for about 300 more years, give or take. And then they went into captivity under the Babylonians, under King Nebuchadnezzar, right? Syrian king was Salamander. That's who took Assyria into captivity. After that, you get good night. After that, you get what was Babylonian captivity? What was the Greek? Nebuchadnezzar. Who was he? The Babylonians, right? Yeah, Nebuchadnezzar. And that was the Nebuchadnezzar, then it was the Greeks, then it was the Romans. And it was just like bang, bang, bang. And then we just kept going. After that, you know what I'm saying, we rose under Rome. You know what I'm saying? When we rose under Rome, this is a whole nother situation. But after we rose under Rome, Rome was splintered. It'll say that it was together, but it was splintered, right? As we grew up in splintered Rome, we became Constantine, was the king of Constantinople or Istanbul. He was the king of what later will be known as the Byzantine Empire, right? During this time period, you know what I'm saying, they grew and rose to power, and you know what I'm saying, we became kings of Germany, Spain, Britain. Britain is sons of the covenant. You know what I mean? So we rose to power after time, but you know what I'm saying, during these periods, we went into captivity. We saw power during the Dark Ages. We saw rulership. Those Edomites was our slaves during the Dark Ages. You could see it. You see coins, you know what I'm saying, when they mint, like when they win battles, they would mint a coin. And in the coins they would mint, or the coat of arms, you would see Hebrews or black, or you know what I'm saying, brothers, you know what I'm saying, Israelites with Edomite slaves. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's the way history went on. We're gonna get a couple more scriptures. Give me I forgot to bring this one. Give me Ezekiel 23 and 2. And you're right, Tazara, these are all lessons that, you know what I'm saying, we should learn regardless. That's why it's so imperative to read these scriptures. These records give you all the knowledge you need.
If you like, this is like where I'm studying at right now. Like, you want to learn like how to lead, like First Kings, really First, Second Samuel, First Kings. That's really what you need, cause like
Samuel, Saul, David, Solomon.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And like the when Solomon came into rulership, it was something straight out of Game of Thrones or House of Dragons. Like, you know, like it was when David died, it was like straight treachery from Solomon's brother, and Solomon used wisdom to search out his brother's heart, and in his wisdom, it ended up getting his brother killed. You know what I'm saying? Because he was trying to manipulate and take the throne before his father even took his last breath.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like, you trying to learn.
And then we saw history repeat itself.
Right. You know, if you trying to learn like how to lead your people in the pitfalls to look out for, because Satan gonna come for you like he did for Christ in the wilderness. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you in a position of leadership, and you gotta be prepared. You gotta fast, pray. You know what I'm saying? Because Satan's just looking for that opening. The minute that you get weak, he gonna hop in there, hop on you like a lion pouncing on his prey. You feel me?
Right. Be like Job, he's gonna send them demons at you. Like he said, as soon as he find that opening.
Sounds like Donkey Kong. It's gonna destroy you.
You know, it's like Donkey Kong. Crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know what I'm saying? So give me Ezekiel 23 and 3. This is the Lord's this is about it's about women, but it's a metaphor. Alright, so start at 23 and 1.
This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 23, verse 3.
Go ahead. So start at 23 and 1.
Verse 1. The word of the Lord came unto me, saying,
Came again unto me.
the word of the Lord came again unto me, saying, verse 2, Son of man, there were two
There
women.
were what?
there were two women.
Okay, that's now to go through. Came into him again saying, Son of man. Son of man is like brother. There were two women. Go ahead.
The daughters of one mother.
Now these two women were the daughters of one mother, meaning they're what?
No, sorry. It's
Sisters.
Okay, go ahead.
Verse 3. And they committed whoredoms in Egypt.
Meaning they did what? Explain what a whoredom is.
That's being a whore.
You can't use the word in definition. Explain what whoredom is.
Having sex with multiple men.
Which is,
Adultery.
which is,
Fornication.
not necessarily unlawful. All right, go ahead.
They committed whoredoms in their
They
youth.
committed whoredom while they was young. They was whores while they was little. Go ahead.
There were their breasts pressed,
Mm-hmm.
and there they bruised the teats of their virginity.
Go ahead. They had their breast pressed. They bruised the teats of their virginity. Meaning when they was young, you know what I'm saying? They bruised themselves from childhood. Go ahead.
Verse 4. And the names of them were Aholah,
Mm-hmm.
the elder, and Ahalabah, her sister, and they were mine,
Go ahead.
and they bare sons and daughters.
Mm-hmm.
Thus were their names. Samaria is Aholah,
Mm-hmm.
and Jerusalem Ahalabah.
Explain what's going on. What is the Lord doing right now? What is he building?
So it's talking about the northern and the southern kingdom.
Yeah, but it's a metaphor.
Yeah.
So the Lord is using
So they
two sisters, right? Two sisters that was whores from pretty much from youth. But these two sisters are Samaria and Jerusalem. Samaria is who?
the northern kingdom.
Which is the capital of Ephraim, right? Jerusalem is who?
Judah.
Which is the capital of Judah. Go ahead.
Verse 5. And Aholah played the harlot
Mm-hmm.
when she was mine,
Mm-hmm.
and she doted on her lovers,
Mm-hmm.
and on the Assyrians her neighbors.
So Aholah, which was Samaria, she wound up messing with the Assyrians, right? That was her neighbor. So the Lord is saying the northern kingdom was flirting with the Assyrians. Right?
Verse 6. Which were clothed with blue, captains and rulers, all of them desirable young men, horsemen riding upon horses. Verse 7. Thus she committed her whoredoms with them, with all them that were the chosen men of Assyria.
Now drop down to verse 17.
Verse 17. And the Babylonians came to her into the bed of love,
Mm-hmm.
and they defiled her with their whoredom.
Now this is when Judah, or the older sister, yeah, the older sister was defiled by Babylon. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because we was messing around with other nations. Same thing that Solomon was doing. Messing around with the other nations, committing whoredoms. And because we was so close to them, because we was living so close amongst them, they came upon us, they made us whores and defiled us. You know what I mean? Right there, give me, that's gonna be heavy. Give me, John 4 and 10. Start at 4 and 7. Yeah, you get this so I get it. You got it.
This is the book of John, chapter 4, verse 7.
Go ahead.
There cometh a woman of Samaria to draw water. Yahushua said unto her, Give me to drink.
Go ahead.
Verse 8. For his disciples were going away unto the city to buy meat.
Go ahead.
Verse 9. Then said the woman of Samaria unto him, How is it that thou, being a Jew, askest drink of me, which am a woman of Samaria? For the Jews have no dealings with the Samaritans.
What's going on, Sawadia? Talk to me.
Oh, you talk to me.
Who is this woman?
Me.
Why do the Jews have no dealings with the Samaritans?
She from the northern kingdom.
Me.
Is she?
Me too.
The Jews have no dealing with the Samaritans.
I need the peak.
Cause they been cut off.
They committed whoredom. And now we in the book of John. At this point, we 1,000 years later almost. Samaria is no more. There is no more Samaria. Samaria is now called Galilee or something like that. It's totally different. So now this woman of Samaria, is she an Israelite?
I would assume so.
You would assume so. Let's keep reading. Why would he say the Jews have no dealings with the Samaritans, the Samaritans? The Samaritans.
If she wasn't an Israelite.
Why would you say that?
Cause she would have been a Jew, right?
She would have been a Jew. But the Jews have no dealing with these Samaritans. And watch how he cut her. And watch how she dealt. First it says, the woman of Samaria come to draw water. Christ came to her and said, give me a drink. Right? The disciples was not with him, meaning Christ was by himself. Right? So now she says, saying to him, you being a Jew, why you asking me for a drink? You know what I'm saying? You know I'm a woman of Samaria. I'm from Samaria. Y'all don't got no dealing with the Samaritans. Go ahead.
Verse 10. Yahushua answered and said unto her, if thou knewest the gift of God and who it is that saith to thee, give me to drink.
If you knew who I was, go ahead.
Give me to drink. Thou wouldest have asked of him, and he would have given thee living water.
Yeah, if you knew who I was, you would have asked me for a drink, and I'd have gave you something more than just water. Go ahead.
Verse 11. The woman said unto him, Sir, thou hast nothing to draw with, and the well is deep.
You ain't even got nothing to get the water out the well with. Go ahead.
From whence then hast thou that living water?
You ain't got no cup, and that well is deep. How you gonna give me some living water? What is living water? Go ahead.
Verse 12. Art thou greater than our father Jacob?
Then who?
Our father Jacob.
Hold up. Art thou greater than our father Jacob? Go ahead. So she's trying to say that we're one people. Ain't you better than our father Jacob? We share the same father, meaning we are one. We brothers. We related. Go ahead. What Christ say?
Which gave us the well and drank thereof himself and his children and his cattle. Verse 13. Yahushua answered and said unto her, whosoever drinketh of this water shall thirst again. Verse 14. But whosoever drinketh of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst.
So it's like whoever drinking that water that you got, they gonna get thirsty again. But the water that I got, you'll never be thirsty again. Go ahead.
But the water that I shall give him shall be in him a well of water springing up into everlasting life.
Go ahead.
The woman said unto him, Sir, give me this water.
So she like, hold up, you gotta give me this water. If you saying this water gonna be in my belly, gonna spring up and have everlasting life, and if I drink this water, I'm gonna never be thirsty again, then I'm gonna need some of this water. Go ahead.
Give me this water that I thirst not, neither come hither to draw.
So if you give me this water, then I'm gonna never be thirsty again, and I ain't never gotta come to this well. Go ahead.
Verse 16. Yahushua said unto her, Go, call thy husband, and come hither.
So now this is a conversation between a man and a woman. So this is obviously her trying to flirt with him, right? So now he's saying at this point, all right, go get your man. I'm talking to this woman. If you talking to a woman on the street, right? You like, yeah, you at the bar with her, and you like, yo, buy me a drink, and she like, you ain't got no money, and you like, if I give you a drink, you ain't never gonna be thirsty again. But if you buy me a drink, then I'm obviously be thirsty again. And she like, oh, okay, what kind of drink you got? What you drinking? And you like, Where your man? Where's your man at? Go get your man. Go ahead.
Verse 17, the woman answered and said, I have no husband. Yahushua said unto her, thou hast well said, I have no husband.
You said that quick too. You said you ain't have no husband, but you said that real quick. Go ahead.
Verse 18, for thou hast had 5 husbands.
He knew it. Like you could see the spirit on someone. Some women just be a dragon. You know what I'm saying? You could see the spirit, or you could see that she may not have a husband. I seen this video online, right? And the girl he was like, you single? She was like, yeah. And he was like, how many men you got on the roster? She was like, about 10. She's not single. But in her mind, she's single. You could see the spirit on this, yeah, she was a sister. You could see that she was a dragon. Go ahead.
For thou hast had 5 husbands, and he whom thou now hast is not thy husband.
Right. So now what you doing? You out here just messing around. You messing with anybody. You messing with everybody. You got 5 husbands, and the one you with now is not your husband. All these men you messing with ain't your husband. Go ahead.
And that saidst thou truly. Verse 19. The woman said unto him, Sir, I perceive that thou art a prophet.
That was so she was like, right. But she said true. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I might got a few husbands. I might got a few men on my roster. How'd you know? I perceive is that you are a prophet. You obviously know what you're talking about. Go ahead.
Verse 20. Our fathers.
For who? Read again.
Our fathers.
She started again. Our fathers. You know what I'm saying? We got the same fathers, right? Go ahead.
Worship in this mountain.
What was the mountain that she's talking about?
Jerusalem.
No, where are they at?
In Samaria.
Which is the mountain of, which the capital of?
Assyria. I mean, not Assyria.
Samaria was the capital of?
The northern kingdom.
Which was in? Ephraim. Samaria was the capital of Ephraim. So what mount are they on? Ephraim. Mount Ephraim. Go ahead.
Our fathers worship in this mountain.
Go ahead.
And ye say that in Jerusalem is the place where men ought to worship.
So our fathers worship in Ephraim, but you saying that we should go worship in Jerusalem. Jerusalem, Samaria, Judah, Ephraim. Go ahead.
Verse 21. Jesus said unto her, Woman, believe me, the hour cometh when ye shall neither in this mountain nor yet at Jerusalem worship the Father.
There's gonna come a time when you ain't worshiping nobody, because you a heathen. Go ahead.
Verse 22. Ye worship, ye know not what.
You don't know what you worship, because you think that you are Israelite. You think that we the same people. You don't know who you are. Now Christ is creating separation between the two. She keeps trying to say our fathers and we grew up together and we got the same father. He like, you worship what you don't know. Go ahead.
We know what we worship.
But we know what we worship. Go ahead.
For salvation is of the Jews.
And she obviously was not a Jew. You know what I'm saying? So Samaria was destroyed. Samaria was ransacked. The people of Israel that were in Samaria, in the northern kingdom, were destroyed. You know what I'm saying? The kingdom split, obviously, because, like everybody was saying earlier, it was sin. You know what I mean? Matter of fact, just keep reading.
Verse 23. But the hour cometh, and now is, when the true worshipers shall
When
worship.
who?
The true worshipers.
Now, what is he saying to her right now?
The ones who are chosen.
Yeah, the true worshipers, meaning you here and you think that we related, but you not a true worshiper. You are not a Jew. You're not an Israelite, even though you of Samaria. So this Samaritan woman wasn't an Israelite. Go ahead.
Shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth.
Mm-hmm.
For the Father seeketh such to worship him.
He gonna find us Father gonna find us. Go ahead.
24. God is a spirit,
Mm-hmm.
and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth.
Go ahead.
Verse 25. The woman saith unto him, I know that Messiah is coming,
I know that the Christ is coming. And somebody's gonna come, and a king, the anointed one. I know he's coming. Go ahead.
which is called Christ.
He's the anointed one. He's gonna save us. Go ahead.
When he is come, he will tell us all things.
Mm-hmm.
Yahushua said unto her, I that speak unto thee am he.
Man, go ahead.
Verse 27. And upon this came his disciples and marveled that he talked with the woman.
Mm-hmm.
Yet no man said, What seekest thou?
So nobody came up to the woman and was like, "Is everything good?" Nobody even came to help this woman or deal with him. I mean, while he's talking to this woman. Try to give me Isaiah 11:1. Man, the further along you go in this truth, man, you're gonna be putting these stories together like this too. Me and Tyler, I'll be wrestling over these scriptures. We be wrestling over these scriptures, you know what I'm saying? Because we study when we go home. I implore you to do the same. You know what I'm saying? Read when you go home. Please. Read Isaiah 11:1.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 11, verse 1.
Good.
And there shall come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse,
Mm-hmm.
and a branch shall grow out of his roots.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 2. And the Spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him,
Mm-hmm.
the Spirit of wisdom and understanding, the Spirit of counsel and might,
Mm-hmm.
the Spirit of knowledge and of the fear of the Lord.
There's gonna rise a branch out of Jesse, which is David, right? He's going to have the spirit of wisdom, the spirit of counsel, the spirit of knowledge. He's going to fear the Lord. Drop down to verse 10. Verse 11, it's 11.
Verse 11. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria, and from Egypt,
Mm-hmm.
and from Pathros.
Now the Lord going to come a second time to recover us. Because he recovered us the first time. We read about it earlier, right? He recovered us from when Joshua, we came out of Egypt. We was in the wilderness. Joshua went and conquered all the land and gave us the land of Egypt. And we lost it. And then the Lord recovered us and brought us back under David. And then we lost it again. Right? And the Lord said it's going to be a second time. He's going to come and recover us again. Go ahead.
And from Cush, and from Elam,
Mm-hmm.
and from Shinar, and from Hamath,
Mm-hmm.
and from the islands of the sea.
Go ahead.
Verse 12. And he shall set up an ensign for the nations,
And sign for the nation. Go ahead.
and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel.
Mm-hmm. Everybody that's in them other nations, all them people in them Gentile nations. He's going to assemble the outcasts. Go ahead.
And gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 13. The envy also of Ephraim shall depart,
Go ahead.
and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off.
Everybody that's a bad spirit, all the wicked is going to be cut off. Go ahead.
Ephraim shall not envy Judah,
Mm-hmm.
and Judah shall not vex
The
Ephraim.
northern and the southern kingdom won't be fighting. Go ahead.
Verse 14. But they shall fly upon the shoulders of the Philistines toward the west.
Go ahead.
They shall spoil them of the east together.
They're going to rise together. Judah and Ephraim going to come together, and we're going to take over the wet. Let's put. We're going to take over the earth, right? On the wings of the Philistines. Go ahead.
They shall lay their hand upon Edom and Moab,
Go ahead.
and the children of Ammon shall obey them.
This is the kingdom of heaven. Go ahead.
Verse 15. And the Lord shall utterly destroy the tongue of the Egyptian sea,
Mm-hmm.
and with his mighty wind shall he shake his hand over the river,
Go ahead.
and shall smite it in the seven streams,
Mm-hmm.
and make men go over dry shod.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 16. And there shall be an highway for the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria, like as it was to Israel in the day that he came up out of the land of Egypt.
So, granted, you know what I'm saying? We came together under David. We lost the kingdom under Solomon's sons, all right, or his son. We went into captivity, you know what I'm saying? And even during the time of Christ, we were still separated. Christ came to save the lost sheep of the house of Israel, right? Christ's spirit is still alive because that's what we are charged to do. If we got the spirit of Christ, then we got to go into Ephraim and Issachar, Gad, Naphtali, Asher, Zabalawan, Issachar. You know what I'm saying? We got to go into those nations. I'm missing one, Ephraim and Manasseh. We got to go into those nations and bring them all back because that's the job that Christ was doing. He told them, go into the land of the Gentiles, the land of the north, right? Speaking to Israel. What times that I was saying last night, say shalom. If they don't shalom you back, then roll out. You know what I'm saying? Give them your peace. If they don't peace you back, then roll out. Your job is to bring back the remnants of Israel because that's what Christ was sent here to do. Give me Matthew 18:11.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 18, verse 11. For the Son of Man is come to save that which was lost.
That's what Christ came for. Christ came to save that which was lost. Assyria was lost, or it's like it. The northern kingdom was lost in Assyria. Judah was lost in Babylon. It was lost under the Greeks. It was so heavy, which I just read it. Judah Maccabees signed a treaty with Rome to free us from the Greeks. And then we wound up being slaves to the Romans. That's the type of people we are. And then Judah Maccabees and his people wound up becoming what we know as the Sadducees and Pharisees. You know what I mean? Listen, our job as priests and prophets of the Lord is a heavy burden. You know what I'm saying? You got a life of toil. You got a life of strife. It sounds like I said yesterday. You got a life of fighting tooth and nail to save your people that don't want to be saved. They want to get high. They want to pop pills. They want to hit the club. You know what I'm saying? They want to bomb everything. They want to have sex with everything. Even the boy Judah wanted to have sex with everything. It's biblical. This is who we are. But the Lord said he gave us a strong forehead. So you can have a forehead to fight against their forehead. Think of a ram. You know what I'm saying? Or what's the animals that hit each other in the head? A ram?
Right.
What's the other one?
I mean, goats and rams.
Goat and ram. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Think of animals like that. You know what I'm saying? The Lord, and that's crazy because that's going to be the Lord's sheep. Huh?
No, I'm saying rams way tougher.
Yeah, rams and goats. Sheep do too, right?
Yeah.
And that's us. That's us. We rams and goats and sheep. You know what I'm saying? Like, we see each other. We like. As soon as we see each other, we like. Cause that's how we are. You know what I'm saying? You bang, and then yeah, bang. That's how we see each other. You know what I'm saying? Our forehead is tough against their forehead. And as soon as we see each other, we want to know who's the toughest, who's the mightiest. That's what Israel is. But you've been given the forehead, and you've been given the spirit of the Lord. You've been given what Christ came to deliver on the earth. Because before that, you just had the law. And with that, we all was slaves. We all was cattle. You know what I'm saying? But today, the Lord has given you the strength to be somebody much more greater. Somebody far more greater. And what times that I was saying earlier was heavy. I'm saying you learn how to be someone who your people can come to for advice or counsel. You learn not to be one of them young niggas that Rollbaum was listening to earlier. You learn to be the men of wise counsel. Listen to the wise counsel. You know what I mean? That way, we won't see no splits in no kingdoms ever again. We see splits all the time happening around us. You know what I'm saying? But we don't listen to the wise counsel, and that's why we split. You see what Rollbaum did. Rollbaum went with the young nigga counsel. And after that, everything went bad. If he would have went with the wise counsel, then Jeroboam would have never been king. Those 10 tribes would have never went with Jeroboam. They would stay with Rehoboam. And when they stayed with him, you would have still had the kingdom of Israel. You follow me?
And if I could, I mean, if you go back to First Kings 1, right when Solomon came into was about to come into power, his brother Adonijah, you know what I'm saying? The reason why he was all big headed and puffed up was the same reason what you talking about right now. He was listening to them YNs. Instead of listening to the counsel or getting counsel from his wise counsel from his father's court, you know what I'm saying, like Solomon did, you know what I'm saying, he wouldn't talk to the young bulls, you feel me? He's like, yeah man, let's go ahead and slaughter these calves, you know, let's have a good party, you know what I'm saying, because you about to be king, you know what I'm saying, and he aligned himself up to where he made himself an enemy against the kingdom. Because while him and his boys, they partying, they hearing a whole feast go on and a loud noise as Solomon is getting anointed by Nathan. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, what's going on? And then word get back to him that he got the fear of God struck into him and he holding on to the altar so his brother don't kill him. Because he know what he did was wrong. That's what happens when you don't get the counsel of the men above you and you getting counsel from men that's under you or your peers.
I mean, men that's under you, you know what I mean, I definitely understand that, you know what I'm saying? But, yeah, men that's under you. You know what I'm saying? Because they have a younger spirit in you. Absolutely. I'm thinking more so you getting counsel from Satan. You know what I'm saying? Satan is giving you the counsel. Whereas though you went to the men above you or wise men, you would get counsel from men of the Lord. You know what I mean? So just don't be none of them Negroes. Don't be a traitor to your people. You know what I'm saying? Don't be a Negro that think you know more than the men above you. Or think you can outclass the men that have been doing this for years to come. You know what I'm saying? Like, and anytime it's like a rookie trying to be better than somebody that's been doing it for 10 years. You know what I'm saying? When you think you've got to a certain place, they're still 10 years ahead of you. You know what I mean? So just be wise, just understand that, you know what I'm saying, this whole Bible is here for our knowledge. Everything we read in this Bible, this is what helps us grow. This right here. And anything we think we're going through, it's right here in this book. You know what I mean? The kingdom was split over infidelity and immaturity. Don't be either one of those. Alright? Yakabizi, we got any questions online? Most on crash. Alright, with that being said, any questions in the classroom? I knew you had questions. I'm gonna just start with your questions from now on. It's in Isaiah, ain't it? Alright. Isaiah 30 what?
38 and 8.
38.
Oh,
He hit the next chapter. Go ahead.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 38, verse 8. Behold, I will bring again the shadow of the degrees, which is going down in the sundial of Ahaz, 10 degrees backwards. So the sun returned 10 degrees, but by which degrees it was going down.
Go ahead. What's your question?
So I was trying to see if that kind of like today, like daylight saving time and standard time.
No. This is, think a miracle to prove he's a prophet. Like, think if I say, listen, all right, I'm gonna set your clock back on your phone 5 minutes. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna set the clock back 10 minutes on your phone. And you look on your phone like, damn, he really did it. You know what I'm saying? That's just a miracle to prove he was a prophet. It's not daylight savings time, none of that weird stuff. This is just him proving his point. All right. For instance, I was at camp with Kat, and it started raining. We was in Memphis. Remember that time? You was there too, wasn't you?
Mm-hmm. Not in Memphis.
Was you there with us in Memphis? Yakuba, was you there with us in Memphis? Good night. We in Memphis and we at camp, and it just started pouring down raining. I'm talking about like buckets. Everybody was drenched, right? It's a video out there. Y'all can see the video. So while it's raining, right, I look at Kat and I was like, Kat Yachty. I was like, yo, Kat, ask the Lord for it to stop raining. You know what I'm saying? And Kat just looked at me and was like, he just looked at me and like nodded and kept walking, right? And I walked around the camp and I came back past Kat Yachty, right? And Kat Yachty was like, how you say? He's like, it's finna stop right now. How he said it in some down south lingo, right? Like, but I was like, it's about to stop right now. But he said it like that. It's finna stop right now. And I made one more trip around the camp, and I looked up, and the clouds opening up. And I looked at Kat, and he was like, and I was like, ain't no way. It ain't no way. Think like that. You dig what I'm saying? Like something that somebody do or say, and it happens. You know what I'm saying? In my mind, like, he's absolutely a prophet. Absolutely. Something like that. You know what I mean? So turning the sundial backwards is 10 degrees is like moving the clock back. All right? That was it?
I got one more.
But
In verse 12. Mine age is departed and is removed from me as a shepherd's tent. I am cut off like a weaver my life. He will cut me off with pining sickness. From day even to night will thou make an end of me. So I was just trying to understand what he mean by like when he say mine age is departed and is removed from me as a shepherd's tent.
you know.
Huh?
You know.
Well, why you say removed from me as a shepherd's tent?
He getting old. You read this like a story, right? So verse 10 it says, I said, in the cutting off of my days, I shall go to the gates of the grave. I'm departed from the residue of my years. I said, I shall not see the Lord, even the Lord, in the land of the living. I shall behold no more with the inhabitants of the world. He's getting old. He won't see. Hold on.
I got a precept for you to explain.
Good.
Go to Job 7 and 6. Hold where you at and go to Job 7 and 6.
Yeah, I understood you get wrong. I understand why you say shepherd's tent.
I got you. Go
A
to
shepherd's
Job 7 and
tent?
6.
That's what you need, the shepherd's tent?
Yeah,
I got you. Go to Job 7 and 6.
This is the book of Job, chapter 7, verse 6. My days are swifter than a weaver's shuttle and are spent without hope.
You understand? So, a shepherd, if I could, a shepherd's tent is a covering, right? A covering from
Like a
the
manger.
elements. It's a covering from danger. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, yeah, you supposed to protect your flock and all of that stuff or whatever, but you also need protection. You know what I'm saying? So when as a shepherd, when you out there in the field, you know what I'm saying, moving your herd and you don't got no tent, you without protection. So basically, you without hope. You without, you on guard 24/7, 365. You don't get no rest. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it's talking about when he uses the analogy as a shepherd's tent.
Get Jonah chapter 4. Jonah chapter 4. Hold on. verse 6. Start at verse 6.
This is the book of Jonah, chapter 4, verse 6. And the Lord God prepared a gourd and made it to come up over Jonah,
Go ahead.
that it might be a shadow over his head to deliver him from his grief.
Go ahead.
So Jonah was exceeding glad of the gourd.
Go ahead.
Verse 7. But God prepared a worm when the morning rose the next day,
Mm-hmm.
and it smote the gourd that it withered.
Go ahead.
Verse 8. And it came to pass when the sun did arise, that God prepared a vehement wind, east wind,
A vehement,
vehement east wind,
which is strong. Go ahead.
and the sun beat upon the head of Jonah,
Mm-hmm.
that he fainted, and wished in himself to die,
Go ahead.
and said, It is better for me to die than to live.
Salakia. So the Lord had a gourd, right? A gourd like a big giant pumpkin or something, right? And this big gourd was shade over Jonah's head. The Lord made a worm to kill the gourd. Now, this is the Lord checking Jonah again, right? So now he checking Jonah with the gourd, and he says, so it's a big gourd. The worm came, ate the gourd dies. And now and Jonah's sitting under this sun. He like, damn, it's like me in Houston. I'm like, oh my God, I'd rather just die than to live in this Houston heat. You know what I'm saying? The sun is smiting him by day. Go ahead. Verse 9.
Verse 9. And God said to Jonah, Doest thou well to be angry for the gourd?
You think it's wise to be angry for the gourd, or angry because you ain't got no shade? Go ahead.
And he said, I do well to be angry, even unto death.
He said, yeah, I'm mad as hell that I don't got this damn gourd no more. Go ahead.
Verse 10. Then said the Lord, Thou hast had pity on the gourd,
Oh, you feel sad for that gourd? Go ahead.
for the which thou hast not labored.
You ain't do nothing for that gourd to grow. You ain't do nothing for that gourd to be a gourd. You just love that gourd and you mad the gourd is gone. Go ahead.
Neither madest it grow,
Mm-hmm.
which came up in a night, and perished in a night.
Gourd just appeared and then disappeared. Go ahead.
Verse 11. And should not I spare Nineveh, that great city,
Mm-hmm.
wherein are more than 600,000 persons,
Mm-hmm.
that cannot discern between their right hand and their left
And
hand.
this is the Lord checking Jonah for not wanting to go to Nineveh when he said that the city's going to die in 40 days, right? He said, now, you mad that you got pity on a pumpkin, but you don't got pity on the people that I sent you to have pity on? You know what I mean? So the shepherd's tent, think of it like to set a shelter, right? But the Lord gives you the shelter, and the Lord can take it away from you, right? But it's pale in comparison to what your job is. You know what I'm saying? Your job is to push forward, whether you have a tent or not, whether you have shelter or not. You know what I'm saying? We get old, we feel our bones getting older, and whatever it is that makes us feel sorrowful, it doesn't really matter. You know what I'm saying? Like even Job in the Bible, Job was feeling the pain of growth, or the pain, or Isaiah was feeling the. Now Isaiah is more of a prophecy, so you might want to come back to Isaiah the stronger you get in the truth. Start off with books like Nehemiah, Ezra. Read them too. Read Nehemiah, Ezra. Read Joshua. Read them books as you're starting off. It'll give you more of a spirit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, start with them. Nehemiah, Joshua, and Ezra. Read them. Alright? Come back to Isaiah. Because Isaiah is more of a prophecy. You know what I'm saying? So it'll be harder to understand it because prophecies of Christ returning, and if you can't break it down correctly, you know what I'm saying, it's tough to read. You know what I mean? Read it if you want to. When you get through it, make sure you read it again once you become an officer of 500, 1,000, whatever keeps me. Take notes too. Don't just read it. Take notes. Alright. Any more questions?
Just one more. I was trying to understand one more metaphor. All right, how you been when it say, I have cut off like a weaver my life.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't a weaver somebody that make fabric?
A weaver, somebody that make fabric? You say ain't a weaver somebody that make fabric?
Yes.
Yeah. You got your question?
No, I'm just trying to understand the metaphor, what he means by like, I cut off like a weaver my life.
What you do when you get done with the fabric? What you do with the yarn?
Good. That boy looking for the mystery.
Right there.
Giving it straight to it.
That's right there. It's right there. Once you get the spirit, though, you know what I'm saying, you're gonna get the spirit, you're gonna read the Bible like it's nothing, because you understand what they're saying. Just keep working on it. But like I said, start with Ezra and Nehemiah. Them two brothers is heavy, and Joshua, and you'll read about them making Israel. And Nehemiah and Ezra was rebuilding the temple. You know what I'm saying, after it was ransacked. Read Esdras is like Isaiah is like Esdras. It's one of them type books. You know what I'm saying?
Still finish reading.
Yeah, read it, but come back to it. You know what I mean? All right, with that being said, we're gonna pass the class off to Reese and Officer Yakapa. Say again? Yo, you should know these announcements by heart by now, son. Good. Good. Say after class.
After class? We are the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, started on 1 West 125th Street, Hartford, New York. Rule for new brother or sister. When a new brother or sister comes to the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to share themselves to the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6-month period in which a brother or sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. The book of Numbers, chapter 18, verse 21. Book of Malachi, chapter 3, verses 8 through 10. Ma'asharai, which means 10th in the Hebrew. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Give to the Treasury Department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offerings of priests, not mandatory. Also remind you of life or whatever size life. Upcoming holy convocations. Feast of dedication, Hanukkah. 25th day of the 9th month by the space of 8 days. Wednesday.
Remember, feast of dedication is a rededication to the temple. So we wanna clean the ornaments, you know what I'm saying? We wanna try to give something to the school, you know what I'm saying? Bring something to the school to make our school stronger, better, you know what I'm saying? New chairs, new tables, something, you know what I'm saying? We wanna rededicate to our temple, all right? That's the spirit of Hanukkah.
Wednesday, 25th December 2024 for 8 days. You can read about it in the book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 4, verses 52 through 61.
And Hanukkah was absolutely a race war. It was us celebrating the demise of the Greeks. You know what I'm saying? Which is the children of Esau or Edom. Go ahead.
Okay. If anyone wants to become a trooper in the school, start wearing all black, boots, shirt, pants, headband, and or scarf. It means security masks.
With that being said, men of Israel, Amaja, which means to stand. Men of Israel, we're going to give them courtesy salute. Men of Israel, Abba Shabbat, Amaja, Barak, Yahweh, Shiri, Yahshua, Barakatam. Dr. Matah, Sar, we'll get the sisters one courtesy salute. Men of Israel, Abba Shabbat, Amaja, Barak, Yahweh, Shema, Latah, Shiri, Yahshua. Dr. Matah, class dismissed.